What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Hippo Supercoach, and today we're going to be going over my top trade targets for the week. Now, there's quite a few, but at the same time, it's a hard week because the options aren't too clear. Whereas last week, I feel like we had some clarity. Having the budget ones with Mills, Brayshaw, and Steele all turned out to be kind of trappy, to be honest. So we'll talk about who I think are the best options for this week, and I think who could really boost us up the rankings. And we're going to go from worst to best out of my top targets. So we'll talk about the rookies first. So Harry Sharp's being brought in. I think I'd rather Sharp over Thomas Berry. So Sharp's had a really good game last week. Break even of -37. So if we're filtering by break even, the obvious pick is Sharp, having the higher break even than Berry, but Berry's still got a relatively good break even. If you were to double downgrade, obviously it's those two. I would slightly prefer Sharp though, but I don't know about his job security. That being said, we don't really know about Berries either, so I think it's a bit of a coin flip with those two. But yeah, I'd probably say Sharp. And then Bailey Humphrey, I'm personally not bringing him in. I think he's got a bit of trap written all over him. But, break even's obviously great. So I could see why you'd bring him in. But for me personally, I'm not going to do that. All right, rookies out of the way. That's pretty much it. I went early on Drury. People still bringing him in. He should have good job security just because North have so many players out. So I like that for him. But other than that, he's not really a great option. Anyway, let's jump into my top trade targets. So at number 6, so we're going to count down. Number 6, I have Sam Doherty. Now, the reason I have Sam Doherty is because his price is so cheap for what he can do. Now, if you look at his 3-round average, what is it? What actually is 3-round average? I don't know. He's gone 106, 111, 94. So I think it's like a 105 3-round average, roughly. I think that's really good. I think he's not... I don't know if he'll be a top 6 defender. He could be from now till the end of the season, which, remember, that is what we're bringing players in based on. I think, yeah, I think he's due for some big games as well. So got the good rollback, it seems. Obviously, it's frustrating that we don't have him anymore, but yeah, I think for 5.19, if you're going to go someone a little bit budgety, besides the first guy I'm going to talk about, Sam Doherty's a good option. So keep him on the radar. How has he gone the last few games against Collingwood? I feel like it'll be decent. 138, 107, 85. Yeah, pretty average against Sydney, and then Melbourne, he's gone back-to-back to 120. So yeah, Doherty's a good option. Number 5, we have Sam Walsh. So you're probably thinking, what, a biased Carlton supporter here? These are the only 2 Carlton players on the list. So Sam Walsh, break even 125. So you can obviously wait a week on him. But the role just looks good. Like, I know he's playing a lot of forward, and I think there's a really good chance he does get forward DPP. For me personally, I don't think I'll have him on the forward line. I think I'll be stuck with him in the midfield. But I think he's still pretty safe top 8 midfielder. He just works so hard around the ground, sprinting everywhere. Plenty of contested, plenty of uncontested. He can really do anything. He kicks goals, tackles, like he does everything. Obviously, if he was starting in the middle, it'd be a little bit better. Probably bump up that average by a couple points, but still a really good role and an absolute jet of a player. So I think Sam Walsh is one to consider over the next few weeks, if not this week. Next guy I want to talk about is Tom Stewart. So Stewart, still very underpriced for what he's actually averaging. So you take out that 18, he's gone 167, 92, 135, 111, 123, 99, 115. I'm not going to bother calculating that average, but it's obviously very high. And yeah, that average of 108 or 107.5 is a little bit skewed by that 18 outlier at the start where he got injured in the first quarter. So Tom Stewart is an absolute jet, takes pretty much all the kick-ins, plays on from 90% of them. Break even of 129, so he's another one we can wait a week on if you think he's going to drop a little bit. And his next few games, he's got Freo, who's gone 187 against last week, oh my god, or last season. 102, 89, 74, 107, 100, 112, 39, 120. I think he got injured that game. So yeah, got a couple of good games coming up. So I think Tom Stewart's one. If you don't have him, he's a really good option. Next guy we're going to talk about, number 3, and that is Zach Merritt. Now, you guys are probably thinking, what the hell? Why would you pick Merritt? He got no CBAs. I still back him to get that midfield roll back. I don't think that's going to be a week-to-week thing where he's just playing forward. Break even 120, so you can wait a week on him as well. Pretty much all these players we can afford to wait a week on besides the top guy. But Merritt, like 564k, you might get him for like 10k max cheaper. So I think if you do want him in your final team, which I personally do, he's got 150, 111, 140 coming up. And just look at him. Just look at the last three against the next three. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, I think Brad Scott surely learned his lesson. Play Merritt in the midfield. Like, he's their best midfielder by a mile. Best ball user, like, very strange. But yeah, I think he'll be okay. He still attended like the third most CBA, so it's not like he completely lost the midfield role. It's just more he started in other positions, which is rare for someone like a Merritt. But yeah, I've already got him. I'm not too worried about him, if I'm being honest. So yeah, Zach Merritt at number 3. Number 2, we have Clayton Oliver. Now, I know I said he'd probably get tagged. He cops some Nash attention, but for whatever reason, it seems like no team is willing to do a full hard tag for 4 quarters on him like they do with Noah Anderson or LDU or fucking Lockie Neal. So Oliver, break even 121. He probably hits it. Plays Port. Will Drew might go to him, and I'm hoping he does, and then I'm hoping he gets aged the next week, because that's what happened last season. So 68 and then 85, as you guys can see there. And then Carlton might even put some time into him as well. So these 3 weeks are rough, but it just seems like Oliver's, it's Oliver. Like, it feels like he can just shake tags. Another one that just works really hard, get the ball, loves a stat, loves a tackle, loves plenty of contested ball. So Clayton Oliver, it's M1 or M2. Him and Bond are going to be M1 or M2. It's pretty comfortable to say that at this point. And he's at number 2, and he's one I want to bring in, definitely. But I just think Darcy Cameron coming back in, break even at 55, it's very, very hard to pass up on. If you're going to get him, you probably can wait a week. Projected 87, go up 15k. I reckon he's going to go about 30k, so it'll be like 520-ish with like a 110, 115, I reckon. But Darcy Cameron, man, this guy was beasting before he got hurt. Like, he looked so good. He looked like F1, 103, 137, and 89 when he got injured. I think that was in the 3rd quarter from memory, maybe early 4th. I can't remember. But Darcy Cameron is a jet. If he gets that ruck roll, which I think he will, because Cox played really well forward this week. So I think Darcy Cameron slots right back into that sole ruck roll. And, wow, I think he could go 110 plus for the rest of the season. And at 494k, could you get a better bargain? Probably not. I think I love bringing in sole rucks, especially ones that can really play around the ground. And Darcy Cameron can do that. He takes plenty of marks around the ground, can even sneak forward and kick a goal. So I'm not going to say he's like Prime Grundy, but the play style is similar. So yeah, Darcy Cameron, I think absolute no-brainer pick for me. Talk about my team real quick. Had a night to sleep on my trades. So I'm pretty much just doing Cameron and Sharp in for Hopper and Chandler. So Hopper's apparently going to miss some time. That's what they said. Don't know exactly how long, but for me, it's a calf, so probably have to move him on anyway. He's got a chance of being rested. He's been pretty injury prone this year and just in general. So yeah, Jacob Hopper's probably one I'll never ever have in my team again. He was decent while we had him, but now it's time to move him on. So. And Cade Chandler, break-even is just way too high. I think, yeah, 105 break-even. Just have to get rid of him. Too much risk of leaking cash at this point. And the upside, yeah, if he comes up, whatever. He doesn't... he's not going to be in your final team. So, and then, yeah, so fielding options are a bit tricky because I got to field... I think I got to field St Kilda. I don't know if I trust a Sharp or a Wilmot. If you're going off last week, obviously you'd field them over St Kilda. I don't think I really have any loop options either. So Carlton play almost last. Brisbane, when do they play? They play against Gold Coast. So, and then Matthew Johnson, if he's not in, plays before them anyway. So there's not really a lot I can do here. It's another week of rookie roulette, and I think that's why we have to prioritize. If the general idea of trading at the moment is just get these freaking rookies off the team, because even players like Sincotta, Chandler, we thought we could somewhat trust. We can't trust them. So they really hurt our teams this week. Anyone that didn't have them on the field would have really benefited. So, yeah, at this point, just try and get them off the field. I don't even love the thought of fielding Sam Simpson either. The role's terrible, but he's just sort of scraping along some really decent scores. But I think there's a definite potential for like a 20 or a 30 coming up. Like, if he doesn't kick a goal, he's probably screwed. So he does play in a good team, and against Freo, you'd think they go all right. That being said, Freo have looked significantly better over the last few weeks. So yeah, I think just to gamble with these rookies. In terms of vice captain, I still really have no idea. I'm thinking Bont against Adelaide. I don't know if anyone puts time into him. Has Sam Berry even been playing? I feel like if anyone's going to do it, it's him, but I don't even know if he's been playing. Don't think they'll use anyone else on a defensive role. Like Keys, maybe. Like I don't think so though. I think Keys, they like to tag the halfbackers, so Keys might go to like a Bailey Dale. I feel like he was pretty decent this week. And do a bit of a defensive forward role on him. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, if you've got Clayton Oliver, obviously him on the Friday as a VC and then Bont on the Saturday is a pretty good option. But for me, like, I don't want to have to trust Lockie Neal, but I think I might have to do it. It's either him or Walsh. Maybe Walsh. Maybe the C on Walsh. Who does Zeeble play? See, that would have been nice to go either Goulden or Zeeble into Bont, but they play at the same time. So I didn't actually check that. On the last video, I said I was going to do that, but I obviously can't. So Bont has to be in consideration. He's averaging the most points for my team. Who does Nick Dacos play? Carlton. I feel like Carlton will put time into him, but at the same time, it is Nick Dacos. So maybe just Bont into Dacos and just hope Dacos can scrape a good score. English, I need to see another good score before I think about VCing or captaining him like I did last week. Who's Rowan Marshall play? GWS. I don't know how good GWS have been at in the ruck. But Rowan Marshall is in some nice form, but he does have that risk of getting freaking sat in the fourth quarter for some odd reason. Dunkley against Gold Coast, not a bad shout, actually. I've gone through like 6 different options at this point. Maybe Bont into Dunkley. Anyway, that's it for the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed the trade targets. I think there's some decent options this week. Caleb Sarong's another one people bringing in. I think that's a really good choice as well. He doesn't look like slowing down, and I think if Brayshaw starts playing well, which it seems like he is, they won't put full time into Sarong. It might be more of a shared thing, whereas like you see with Petrarca and Oliver, they can both go big because teams can't shut them both down, so they don't try. So I think there is a bit of that with Sarong and Brayshaw. So if you do like Sarong, I think jump on. Still a pretty decent price for what he's capable of, and yeah, I think Sarong's a great option. But yeah, I'm personally not jumping on him. I'd rather the cash option or the value option with Darcy Cameron, and the upside is insane for him. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.